This week on Supercars Talk, when is a DJR Wildcard not a DJR Wildcard? And it's not a good weekend to be a fan of Aussies on the international stage. Let's start off covering the Aussies at the Monaco Grand Prix and the Indy500. Not a good weekend to be an Australian international motorsport fan. Dan just didn't have any pace in Monaco. Lando doing a very good job. Don't know what's going on with Dan at the moment there. And the Indy 500, of course, Will Power, just no pace as well. He's brilliant start. He made up about 5 places through the first 2 corners and then just kind of went backwards, and I think he finished 20-something. Joseph Newgarden was down there with him, and of course Scott McLaughlin into the wall. At the time he was the best of the Penske drivers, so a little bit of a shining light there. And of course the New Zealander in the field, Scott Dixon as well, pit lane penalty, and he kind of had that race smashed. He didn't look like he was going to be beaten. The only thing to beat him was himself. Pit lane penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and his day was basically done there. Marcus Ericsson took out the win. Not the biggest surprise. He's in a Ganassi car. The Ganassi cars were the fastest kind of, all month. Just did a good job, and he was the one there at the end while the others kind of faltered around him. The big news this week, though, the E-Series is back. I know you've all been, on the edge of your seats waiting for this one. A little bit of good news with it. I won't be bothered watching, but Sandown's going to be there. They're going to have an enduro at Sandown. Why can't we have that with the proper cars when we can have it on the E-Series? Bit of a kick in the teeth for us fans of endurance racing, isn't it? Anyway, it is pretty cool to see on iRacing that they do have Bathurst, Sandown, Phillip Island, Winton now as well as Sandown, and of course Oran Park that's been on there for a long time. It's great to see those tracks, and if I had more time and more money, I'd probably look into doing a bit of iRacing, because it does look like a lot of fun, although I think it's a bit more of, fun competing in it more than watching. The actual big news this week was that there was going to be a DJR Wildcard, and then it's not a DJR Wildcard. So what's happened is a person by the name of Michael Anderson has bought the ex-DJR. It was an FGX that was converted to a Mustang for Fabian Coulthard while the team was under Penske control. So technically it is the only Penske car that's kicking around at the moment within Australia. The rest of them have gone overseas, or they're currently in, I think one of them's in a million pieces still that they are going to put back together. That I think the flip one, that's still yet to be fixed, but that it will be shipped overseas as well when it's finished, because it was the one that won Bathurst. Just a little tidbit there. And then obviously when Penske pulled the pin, DJR did build 2 brand new cars for the start of last year for Anton and Will Davison. So Michael Anderson's bought the car. He's a Super 3 driver. He's done TCM and things like that in the past as well. Magically, he has got a Super license, probably because he's been doing Super 3. I think he's done quite well in it. He has... I'm trying to remember now. I should have written these down, but he's had a couple of the young blokes, possibly Jada was one of them over the last couple of years driving his car instead of himself. He will be racing the car at Bathurst with a yet to be named co-driver. Probably why I'm thinking, because Jada hasn't got a seat for Bathurst yet, so kind of putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5 there. But the interesting thing was that at the start of last week, there's going to be a DJR Wildcard and all that. And I thought, this is a bit strange, after the announcement that Scott McLaughlin's not coming over and that. Why would they bother if, their current co-drivers, I think they could probably do better with their current co-driver lineup. Anyway, why would you bother going and doing a wild card when you're in that kind of position. Anyway, then the team came out and very distanced themselves from it and said, no, we've only sold them the car. They're doing it on their own. Let's hope that this one's a little bit more competitive than the last car that got sold from DJR. Speaking of DJR, Viva Energy, who is the parent company of Shell, they've signed on for another multi-year deal to sponsor the team. So that is great news for all you fans of consistent paint jobs over the years. Funnily enough, when this was announced, I thought, I'll do, you know, a top 5 of DJR Shell liveries. And then sure enough, the bloody sleuth has gone and stolen my idea and already did the list. Funny when you read through it though, because really there's probably only been 5 different DJR Shell liveries over the years. They just kind of carry them, you know, for multiple years, as we've seen in, you know, the most recent incarnation of it. It's just been the same all the way through. But it is great news for the team. I assume it's at a similar level sponsorship wise, because there is a few question marks kicking around with that team at the moment. So it's great that they do have that financial backing behind them to plan into the future. Matt Stone Racing are doing the Walk for Him cause to raise money for Men's Health Week. Over the week, June 13 to June 19, they will, as a team, be doing 49,000 steps. That's not individually. That's, you know, all of them together. That seems a little bit low. I might need to check that off because, yeah, a lot of the time I got my watch and, you know, I can rack up 10,000 steps a day maybe. Anyway, if you want to, you know, join the cause and donate to them, I'll put a link down in the video description. Yeah, and you can, you know, join in and donate because it is a great cause and yeah, really good initiative to get behind. The last little thing to cover off this week, Nick Percat has found what's wrong with his current car. The driver. There was a big headline saying, you know, Nick Percat's found the issue with his ZB Commodore, and then it was a bit of a fluff piece that didn't really say anything. So the proof will be in the pudding in Darwin if the problem is Nick or whether they found an actual problem with the car and all of a sudden he is back up there. Well, not back because he never really was with Jazz in the same team, but you know, we expect Nick to at least be in the top 10 because that's where he was most of the time in his BJR days. So that covers it off for this week. Backseat drivers on Thursday night, live stream. Matt and Rob will be joining me again. We will probably be focusing on the Indy500, but there is a fair bit to kind of cover off with Monaco as well. So that will not be one to miss if you are fans of people just randomly talking about motorsport for a strict 1 hour time limit. But anyway, I'll put the link to the channel, but it will be live streamed off this channel as well. So until next time, I'm still Dave and I'll catch you later.